So why not just allow the fiscal cliff to take effect, as they call it? Is it really a fiscal cliff, or would this be a way to have the Bush tax cuts expire and maybe get some fiscal discipline?
I think with this economy in a real fragile recovery right now, we just can't afford to have, that kind of shock to the system in one fell swoop. The effect of all of the Bush tax cuts expiring for middle-class residents as well as the wealthy, along with some pretty massive spending cuts that would hurt Connecticut pretty deeply, I think just would be irresponsible. And so I think that we need to get back to Washington, bring Republicans and Democrats together, avoid this fiscal cliff, and then have a adult conversation about how we really move forward.
What I understand is why everyone calls it a fiscal cliff and an emergency, when in fact this was a deal made. You were in Congress, both sides made a deal that this is the way it should work to avoid that last time. So why is it such a crisis now, but it wasn't when the deal was struck?
Well, I didn't vote for the deal.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I thought it was a terrible idea to set up this crisis, and I'm sick and tired of managing by crises, and that's part of the reason why I voted against it in the first place. So I was a loud voice back last year for dealing with the initial debt ceiling crisis in a different way, and I'm going to be advocating to postpone what I think would be a pretty damaging set of both revenue increases and spending decreases to the economy.
Do we have a moment now, because of the results of the election, where it's possible to have a deal that will enable you not deal with this as a crisis in avoiding a fiscal cliff? And if so, what would be the terms of that?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things that happened on Tuesday was that some of the most vocal Tea Party obstructionists lost. The Democrats didn't pick up a ton of seats in the House of Representatives, but people like Representative Walsh and Representative West lost their seats. And I hope that there's a message to Republicans that they need to start coming to the table and working with this president to try to get some compromise on fiscal issues.
Specifics, do you know what the fiscal cliff deal would include? Would include $250,000 and above on the first day? No idea. And finally, going to 3 delis in 3.5 hours. Do you eat a full sandwich at each, or how do you deal with that?
I think I'm gonna eat here.
So Muddy Waters Cafe, just get a soda.
Muddy Waters Cafe, I'll get a soda, and here I'll have my lunch here.
Thanks a lot, Chris.